Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Super License F1 podcast. My name's Rod.
My name is Zach.
You getting used to the intro yet, Zach?
Kind of. It does
Kind
make
of.
me feel a bit funny because it surprises me every single time. I'm barely used to the F1 television broadcast intro, let alone our own podcast intro.
It's funny watching one from a few years ago. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that, and I remember this, the way he turns. Remember the Perez hip turn? You were really big on that.
Yeah, I love the Perez hip turn. I just want you want a bit of nasty, a bit of a bit of energy, a bit of fun.
Oof. Wow. Okay. I mean, these days when they zoom in on Verstappen, he's last because he's reigning world champion and everything. But it's a real glamour shot, and it's like, it does make a difference. It does make a difference how they frame that and present that. If they wanted to present him as a villain or as a good guy or a bad guy or a neutral, they have the power to do that.
They could change the lighting.
George Russell last year with his wingspan, obviously they were casting him as a tool.
Yeah. Not as a giant pterodactyl that would take over the Formula One grid.
It was revealed later on that a few drivers were asked to do that pose, so it wasn't even. But I feel like they did that to con Russell into doing it. They're like, no, Con, everyone's just doing it. He's like, oh, okay, I'll do it. And then because his social media just seems to be full of all of the TikTok editing tricks, and I just feel like he needs no encouragement to just do something really, I don't know, cringe.
He desperately wants to be like Prince of the Formula One drivers, I think. I think he wants to be like, I'm a Formula One driver. Does everyone know? This is how a really good Formula One driver should be.
I have the best life.
Yeah. But I'm a regular man. I'm just a regular human man it's just well documented and produced. That's all. Anybody could be living this life. It's just I've got a production team behind me. That's all it is.
That's true. Anyway, I mean, I'm sensing already that there's good vibes, but I'll just do a quick vibe check. Vibes good?
Yeah, good. Yeah, vibes good. Got loads of sleep during the Monaco Grand Prix this weekend, so vibes are good. So well rested.
That's great. Visual note, you're chopping frames again, so if there's anything you can close on that regard, feel free. Otherwise, we'll press on.
Let me stop the cam and restart the cam. Let's see if that works. Am I better off as a blob?
Yeah, well, this is amazing. I don't know what you just did, but 50% improvement in the visual.
What about now? Better?
Well, debatable. But good frames now, so that's good.
Okay,
thank you
some
for
frames.
That. I'm glad that the vibes are good. There's been, I counted that up the other day because I was like, there's been 2 races since the last podcast. Then I was like, there's been 4 races.
No,
China,
not 4.
Miami, Spain. No,
Emilia-Romagna.
Italy, Emilia-Romagna.
Not
Can we call it the Italian Grand Prix?
No. There's a real Italian Grand Prix, and that's in Monza. We call this one the Ferrari Grand Prix because it's just near. I mean, it is essentially I think it's the Enzo Ferrari Imola Grand Prix track. It's just outside of Bologna.
Monaco.
I was like, am I going to have to call internationally call an ambulance? Everyone's actually having a fainting on the.
Can I WhatsApp an ambulance from you?
I don't have to call someone. I'm a millennial. I don't want to call. I can't call.
Imagine that. 000 returning your call. I don't want to. No, it'll go to message bank. It's
fine. Yuck.
So 4 races, but I mean, I think there's been a lot of action and talking points from the last 3 races.
Handful?
No one really cares about 4 races anyway. Lots of new winners. Well, different winners, let's say, but just big storylines coming out of it. So we've got a lot to cover. But I did say before we started recording, I've got a fun little start here.
Oh,
do you remember, Zach?
So far, this was the fun start.
You thought that was fun? Strap in. Remember we said that we would look for things that Formula One drivers released? Foods, drinks, related consumables.
Mm-hmm.
And we said we'd try and get some.
Yep.
And I've got item number 1.
Yes.
I'm going to get this to focus. This is
you got to put your hand behind it. You got to do the influencer. You know when they hold up the. Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Does
sure.
That do it?
Yep.
From St. Ali, mullet
Who is St. Ali?
Roasters. St. Ali versus St. Ali by Kahiwa. This is a Valtteri Bottas coffee is what I'm trying to say.
They're the coffee roasters, coffee shop, coffee purveyors, St. Ali.
Absolutely. It says on the back, possibly the most famous mullet in the world. This blend is an ode to Formula One driver Valtteri Bottas and his legendary locks. We've partnered with blah, blah, blah. Sweet notes of strawberry, hazelnut liqueur, and dark chocolate. Our mullet blend will help you achieve your own level of greatness.
Okay.
So I've got coffee. I was planning to grind it up and try some, but the problem is I've got one of those grinders that's like integrated into the thing. So I'm like, well, I have to get all the other coffee that's in there out. But I can,
Yeah.
what I could do, we could crack this baby open.
Yeah, give me the aroma, the smelling
More
notes.
than one way to have coffee, Zach. In case you didn't know, let me crack
Are
this.
you gonna
top off?
eat a raw coffee bean?
Eat a raw coffee? What are you, crazy? That's not.
Yeah. Grape. You're a grape, right? This is not podcast friendly.
A
You're a
Greek.
grape. You're not a Greek. You're a crepe.
Okay.
Did you just cut the side through, even though it's a resealable butt? Is it a resealable?
No, it's not
bag?
resealable. No, not resealable.
Sure.
Just cut the little spooks. It's all going to go straight in the grinder anyway.
Let's go straight in the
It's a
grinder.
dark roast. I'm not getting the what did it say? Raspberry, strawberry.
Yeah.
Not getting the strawberry or dark chocolate, but maybe it'll come out when I grind that baby up. And
Do you think that maybe your mouth is not the raw coffee into your mouth is not the best extraction method for getting
can't really
the
taste it over the
notes?
vomit in my mouth right now.
Oh,
Don't recommend eating coffee beans raw again.
again. Okay. Well,
So when you get an espresso martini and they put coffee beans on top, are you meant to eat those? That's just garnish purely, right? You're supposed to throw those in the bin.
I stand by I think it's a George Columbaris. I mean, I know he's cancelled.
Yes.
But he used to say it on MasterChef that if I can't eat it, don't put it on the plate. Don't put it on the plate. If you can't eat it, don't put it on the plate. So if you're putting
Can't
little
eat
coffee
it.
beans,
That doesn't mean you have to eat it.
no. But if I suppose, are you saying that everything's edible as in some way? Right?
Yeah, everything's edible if you
If
try
it's
hard
not
enough.
meant to be eaten.
No, I mean, if
as
it's not meant
part
to
of
be
the
eaten, that's
dish
different.
and put it on
Yeah,
the plate,
okay.
right? You know, I wonder if that's probably how some drivers feel like if these buttons don't do anything on my steering wheel, what are they here for? Like, I don't want them on here, you know? So I like a coffee bean, the heavy roasted coffee bean.
Controversial.
Controversial, I know. These are the big takes.
Yeah.
I had this on the weekend, Rod. I was in Ghent,
Okay.
in Belgium, and I went on a beer tasting tour because, of course, Belgium famous for its Belgian beers. Weird if they were famous for a different beer.
Unlike France, famous for Belgium beers.
Yeah. Well,
That would be weird.
what is Belgium though, really, as a country? Other than Spa, what else can you think of? We were having this conversation. I'm like, Belgium, man,
Chocolate.
it's just not a strong. I think Switzerland for chocolate, but maybe that's
Sure.
just me. Anyway, waffles. That's what they're known for.
failed.
Spa Grand Prix waffles and their banana, funky, tasting weird beers. And on this beer tour, our tour leader, our host, at different points of the day had us taste different things like different grains, malts, and hop pellets. None of these things are good to eat. Like, why? They're enough to smell. The idea that you would eat a bit of barley that had been a little bit lightly roasted, heavily roasted, or really deeply roasted, yeah, you could taste but it's like there's a reason why we then go and process these things and turn them into beers or cereals or other stuff like that. We don't just
that's right.
yum, yum. Like someone was, because I know hot pellets. You shouldn't really eat them. They're very bitter and very disgusting. And so the idea that you would I just cracked one of them and had a really good smell, and then she was like, "Oh, maybe we can eat them, but drink your beer first because they're quite pungent." And guys goes, "Oh," straight, and he's like, "Oh, this is horrible." It's like, yeah, man,
You're not meant to
Yeah.
do that. You're not
Don't
meant
do
to
that.
do that.
it's just imagine yeah. I don't know. You don't just stick a peppercorn in your mouth and chomp down on that guy. It's not really how it works.
I like anchovies on a pizza, but together,
Oh, live straight out of the water? No.
Yeah, straight out of the water.
So no. That's what that reminded me of, Rod. So
Great.
yeah.
Well,
Do
we need to find. We need to
we
find
have any
more.
other things coming up? We do need to find more. I haven't seen any fresh ones. I need to get some of that. Obviously, that Leclerc lick ice cream. That'd be good.
Oh yeah.
Gotta pop into Monaco. I wonder if I can get it. I'm going to France next month. I wonder if I'll be able to get it from the supermarché.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen photos online of people who have it. I just don't know if they were in Italy.
On a special
They-
list. Well, maybe, look, if they're listening, Grom, if you're listening, I will eat the hell out of some ice cream. Send it to
Spending
me.
more
I'll eat it
time
live on
talking
tape.
about this.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's all. That's all.
It's just haven't we already talked? We did 20 minutes, I think, about that bloody ice cream.
Logan Sargent,
we
if you've got
need-
some sponsored American flags you want to
Yes.
send me, we will talk about them.
Sure. If you have ideas for things that we can get, please feel free to send them to us. Superlicencepodcast@gmail.com or join the Discord and
That's
message us.
better.
Yeah, that's the good one.
Brands, join the Patreon, then join the
Yes.
Discord, and then tell us about your products.
But I mean, round one to Rod. Maybe we should have a challenge. Who can get the most of them?
Okay.
Now that I'm already one up, I want to make this a joke. Now
And you
that I'm
didn't even
winning.
consume it properly. You didn't even, you just like did the
Bullshit.
least amount.
That-
You
I
bought something
ate
from a
one.
shop.
I
You
ate
didn't
one,
even
I
make the
smelled it,
comment.
it counts. I paid money.
Okay.
It's in my body, and I'm going to drink all of it.
It's in my body now.
Yeah.
Well,
It's gone to a better place. But we can get some
fair
wine,
enough.
we can get some whatevers. But we'll, that's to say we've done that one now. So we need to plan the next one. Otherwise, it'll be the end of the year. We will have done just that, which is not, I think we can do better.
That's not good enough.
Anyway, I want to get into some F1 stuff. So we can get straight into some stories. I mean, really, I think the thing that I'm seeing online, the thing that's popping off, Zach, the thing that the Gen Zers are going,
Oh
like,
shit!
what are
Pay
they doing?
attention.
Are they shipping this? Are they,
They want tall
bussing it?
socks. They're not hiding it in their shoes. Tell me more.
Drivers going a bit cuckoo bananas
They're mad.
in the membrane.
There's drivers that they don't. I used to think coming into this season, actually, the last few years, I've been saying, Rod, on record, that the drivers haven't been risking it for the biscuit. Because I think they've all
but
been
you're soft
concerned
that
about.
There's no real drivers anymore. No one takes
There's
any
no real
risks.
drivers, Rod.
They just like, oh, why? They just put my nose in. Oh, it didn't happen, so I'll just pull out. And everyone complains about that. And now drivers just out there having an honest crack. And look how people
I
react.
thought you were going to say an honest crash, because that's what they are, Rod. Honest crashes.
They're really crashtastic. And I mean, lap 1 to Monaco 3 incidents. I mean, that's the least, the tamest. Piastri and Sainz, just a little love tap, and he gets a puncher. Almost nothing until, oh my goodness, a whole bunch of other stuff. So I don't know if you want to do Ocon or Kmag first, but I'll let you choices.
Let's do Kmag, because this is where he's had he said we haven't spoken in 3 or 4 races, right? Well, it's 4. I know it's 4. I don't know why I provocated on the 3 or 4. A handful races, Rod.
Could be 2, could be 7.
Races.
Who's counting other than
this
me?
This is what Kevin Magnussen's saying about his crashes. It could be 10,
right.
2,
What
it could be 7.
Well, I got 3 penalty points or 14. Who's counting? Why do you even bother counting?
The important thing to remember is I'm racing and they were incidents, so they are racing incidents. There's not incidents of me being an idiot.
Yeah, that's right.
It's all in there.
Kevin Magnussen involved crash.
What are they? A crash collaborated with Kevin Magnussen, like crash collab
From the minds of Perez and Kevin Magnussen.
The creative mind, featuring, Kevin
Nico
Magnussen.
Hulkenberg and
Produced
Joe New as innocent bystander. We're having fun. Big crash at Monaco. Caused a red flag. I mean, the reddest of flags. They couldn't red flag this thing enough.
No, oh man, it was so red. And I want to talk about the Carlos Sainz thing as well in a second. But
all right.
I can see why it's a racing incident, right? David Coulthard this week was like, if that happened later in the race, he would have been thrown into the sea.
But it didn't.
But it didn't.
It was lap
happened right
1.
at the start. Yeah, if he'd crashed into 12 cars, he might have been banned for Formula 1. But he didn't, though. He just got up the inside or the outside, I suppose.
Yeah.
It was.
This is a funny
it's the racing
one.
You want to see, right?
Everyone is calling for Kmag to be banned, like basically to get the points and receive his race ban and sit out, because they're like, enough of this guy. His brain has flipped. I think part of it is obviously the racing of the last month or so. He's had some pretty debatable, almost indefensible moments where he was like, "Yeah, I drove like a fucking tool. I got penalties for it. So what's the problem, mate?" There's a way to drive.
Games you win stupid prizes. I want to win prizes.
Exactly right. There's a way to drive like a sportsman, and there's a way to drive like a hoon. And his needle is like veering more towards hoon right now. So when these other incidents happen, people tend to just maybe be less forgiving. And I feel like this one in particular, everyone was like, that was Kmag's fault. I was immediately thinking, Kmag he like Perez pushed him into the wall a little bit. So
nowhere to go.
There's a bit of that. Perez could have stayed on the side where there was racing room and gone, just jinked a little bit.
He squeezed him. But there's nowhere to go on the squeeze.
All the drivers were saying, no, like the racing line is through the middle there. I'm like, well, yeah, but when there's no other cars, yes, that's true.
Yes.
And even if Perez doesn't have to give Magnussen space, I mean, Perez's car got all kinds of fucked up. So, and Perez, like, I was on the fence until I saw the Sky box, what do they call it, Sky pad, the iPad on the Sky pad, on the Cry pad. They showed the replay, and they were like, let's just see if Perez looks in his mirror here. Oh, he does. So he looked right in his mirrors at Kmag and still.
I love the idea.
that.
He turned around and went, I fucking
Yeah,
see you,
he just turned around
Kmag.
and he just gave him the finger. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. I was going to say something conjecture-y, and I don't know if I want to, but I'm going to, you know what? I've only got one podcast. I'm going to do it.
Better.
I think that, like all of this crop of drivers, we do a lot of racing at non-street circuits, or we do a lot of racing at places where there's lots of runoff, and where there's not a huge penalty. And you can be like, oh, the cars are so big and wide, and like there's 3 of us going in. Well, I'll just hold this racing line because you'll just go off the track, then it's okay. Whereas at Imola and Monaco and Zandvoort, even, there's some of these older racetracks where it's like, well, you go off, like that's probably going to be the end, though. Like that's how it used to be. Like if you went off the track, your race was over. There is no like you go into the gravel. The idea you'd be able to get out of the gravel was non-existent. Like you like as soon as you touch someone or got to puncture something, your race is usually over. Whereas now cars like limp home, or they get back going again, or they go through the runoff, they go around a bollard, and like, oh, I had to give the place back. What a shame. Whereas at Monaco, there is nothing like that, obviously. And so I don't know what we expect. You know, I think that Magnussen he put himself in that position, but then there was also no way for him to get out of it. He's totally in the hands of Perez as soon as he's in that spot, right? Because if he brakes, he'll get hit from behind. He can't brake fast enough to kind of like, Perez is always going to kind of come in there. But I think we see it even with we've seen it in a couple of other races too, where it might have been at Miami where Hamilton was like, we almost had a big off there because someone took a place and then was like, well, I'm kind of like, my nose is in front of yours, so it's my racing line now, bitch. And it's not. And then they just, and they missed the apex, and the car that was going to hit the apex is like, well, where do you want me to go? Like, I'm going to have to go off the track here because you made a really late move. I mean, speaking of late moves, we had Perez. I don't know, man. Perez seems to find himself in these positions all the time. Almost took his teammate out. Was that in Miami as well? Like off the start, was like, I'm going to do it, and then just go straight behind
Leroy
that.
Jenkins it straight down. Yeah,
just had no brakes at all. I'm glad he's got a new contract signed though at Red Bull. I'm sure they're going to love having him there poodling around in 7th. As long as he's nowhere near Max, they don't care, I think. But yeah, as you said, Kmag hasn't got a lot of credit in the bank that he could cash in on. So when something like this does actually happen, and everyone's a bit like, lap 1, everyone's close. You're obviously a bit quicker than Perez. Don't know what to do there. Did you blame him?
I thought it was just racing. Every time I saw someone try to take a swing at Kmag online, on threads or whatever, they always seem to make the opposite point that they thought they were making, where they were like, why is Magnussen racing so hard on lap 1? There's the whole race to go. I'm like, dude, you have to race that hard on lap 1 of Monaco because look what happens when you don't. You follow each other around for the next 79 laps. So that's great. You just literally disproved the point that you were trying to prove, which was you don't need to race hard on the first lap, which you absolutely do. The other point, like you said, why is Perez taking that line? Well, you would take that line on any other lap. Like, but this isn't any other lap. It's this lap where there's cars already all around you, and you just have to be just a little bit more careful than that.
Yeah, so, exactly right. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why, on that first lap, that Piastri is getting really close behind Leclerc through the tunnel. And didn't just come up around the side coming into the swimming pool. Is it swimming pool? No, what's the
Nouvelle chicane?
I used to Nouvelle chicane, exactly.
That's
Nouvelle
before
chicane.
the swimming pool chicane.
It's the new chicane, Rod. Not that Nouvelle anymore.
No. It's the Oldville, I'd say. It's been quite. They've been there a long
time. The Vaudeville chicane.
It's the Vaudeville chicane. Waka waka waka.
That's where we all go and crash. But yeah, he didn't just pop out and go like, well, look, here I am next to him and I'm going to go in left first. And then I expect you not to be there through the right part of the chicane, Leclerc, because I got into the left-hander first. So, he just didn't go for it because he's weak. Yeah. He's a coward, Rob. He didn't go for the gap that was half there.
That's the problem.
He's a soy.
I mean, cooler heads can prevail, sure. But yeah, I mean, I think at the same time, Magnussen Perez, Perez was the head that needed to prevail. But obviously Kmag wipes out Hulkenberg, wipes out Perez, which Christian Horner was very happy about. red flags the race, really ruins the race. Actually, I mean, I don't know what would have happened with the other incident between the Alpines, whether that would have red flagged things. It might have, but
They were driving
don't know.
around okay, it seemed
They might
like.
have been able to cover that. I mean, Perez went on to finish 10th. Ocon might have been able to retire, but he's going into the tunnel, so I just don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's probably it. I mean, even Sainz, I don't really know how Sainz got going again after the puncture. And then,
You wanted to talk about that. Yeah, well, he
got
sort
to
of
come back
I
in
mean,
third. Why did he get to come back on? I haven't had someone.
this is what you wanted to talk
correctly.
about. Why did that happen?
So we red flagged the race.
Yeah.
And Sainz gets to come back in third, even though he's basically last and out of the race. And they're like, "Oh, we're red flagging. You can come back in." Why did he get to start again?
Well, I guess
because the
they
incident
have to
had
wind
happened.
the race back to the last timing point. This is what they said. We have to go back to the last timing point before the incident, and he was still in third at that time. Just one of those weird things.
Yeah, I'm not going to get too bent out of shape. But of all the tracks where that's going to happen, like where that guarantees you a podium, this is the one.
Pretty much. It's always a popular result when Max Verstappen doesn't win. I do find myself also always rooting for Sainz.
Yes.
And against Perez. So, just great race. More races like that. I don't know what everyone was saying it was boring. I was loving it.
Tell me about Oscar Piastri though, Rod. He's our new Australian boy. We might have 3 Australians in Formula One next year if we depends what you're doing with doing. He might
have one in a few weeks.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Rumors are to believe. We'll get to that next. But yeah, okay. So Piastri, you want to read on Piastri?
I want your read on Oscar Piastri. We haven't talked much about. I was going to call him the P Man, Oscar Pie,
P Dizzle,
P Dizzle. Yeah, Piastro. What do you like? Are we had a glut of Australian Formula One drivers that you and I, an Australian podcast about Formula One, is not like,
is it like,
oh my God, this guy's
mean?
amazing. Like, could he be a world champion? I mean, he's pretty good. And some might argue, barring any, the fact that he's number 2 driver, that he got a grid penalty at Emilia Romagna and had to start 5th instead of 2nd. And then he qualified 2nd here. But Lando's the one that's come away with the win because of a safety car, essentially. Yeah. I would say that Piastri's been the guy who's been, since the upgrades that McLaren have had, that everyone's been very clear to be like, no, they're not that fast. They just got their upgrades in early. It's like, that's fucking what the sport is, though. Like, how quickly can you innovate and bring it to the races and improve? It's like, no, everyone else is going to bring their upgrades and become, like, in the, at whatever.
But maybe. But in the meantime, they've won some races and got more podiums. But is what you're wanting to dial in on, though, is Piastri, is he, like, as good or better than Norris? About? Is he up in that league? Why isn't he talked about?
Why aren't people just being like, this Oscar boy? Like, why is he? Yeah. Why does it seem quietly about Oscar Piastri, do you think?
I mean, I think he definitely has that second driver, what would you call it? Like a shroud of like, you're also here. And then when he does well, they're like, well, the car's really good. He's got that thing about him.
He doesn't have a bombastic personality, does he? He's not like, I'm come from a long like line of Formula One drivers, and like my daddy was this other guy. Yeah.
I mean, when your manager is Mark Webber, you're going to be the understatement. Like, you're going to be like understated, not making a big fuss about yourself unless something really big happens. And even then, it's kind of like, it's all implied, almost like take the glove off and do the slap across the face kind of thing. Not really going to dive bomb your teammate or anything.
Yeah, I was like, I've been wronged, and I'll remember you. And like one day, he'll get back at you by like a really clean overtake.
Oh, revenge will be sweet that day, my friend. Revenge will be sweet. He's an honorary Leclerc. He got adopted by Charles Leclerc, apparently, which is nice. Oh. It's an online joke, and. I was going to tell you why I think people aren't talking about him, and they should. But here's why I think people aren't talking about him. It's because his teammate is from this place called Britain.
I've heard of it.
And they've decided, it's Lando's turn. We're going to talk about Lando for a while.
It's finally Lando's turn. Yeah.
Well, I mean, McLaren are good, great. Now we can big up Lando.
Yes. Yeah, hasn't Lando been good? He's been so loyal to that team. And
so loyal.
And they finally done right by him, because he really is the true driver, number 1 boy from that. Yeah, maybe it is that time. I suppose I just forever consider Lando Norris to be like 20, But I suppose, and like an up and comer.
Yeah.
But I suppose now he is in the peak of his career. I suppose.
I
How old is
suppose.
Lando Norris now?
Yeah, I guess he's like maybe sort of a god among men. I don't know.
Might possibly, if not a god, and at least the best of us.
He's- brings out the best in all of us, does Lando
would say so.
Norris. Yeah, I wonder
Yeah.
why people aren't talking about Piastri. We're not even doing it. P Drizzle. So
Hey, Drizzle. Yeah, I think he's great. I like him. I like his mum on Twitter as well, who's always posting good Twitter stuff.
she's good value.
She's great value.
It's just he's like the non-threatening boy next door. Like you could play poker with Oscar Piastri and leave your cards on the table and go to get a beer, and you come back and you wouldn't have looked at them.
But he'll still beat you though, because he's still better at poker than you. He doesn't need to cheat.
Well,
because he's still great.
It's better than me at several things. I think I don't need to get into that too much, but yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
anything else that you want to bring to the table about your feelings? About
No,
Oscar
I just
Piastri?
think he's quietly been excellent, and his driving is excellent, and he seems to be stringing together great race weekends, both in qualifying, no one was expecting him to. I don't think people are even kind of consciously being like, oh yeah, he's challenging Norris. Like, I think if you take the Norris win away from this period, I think more people will be a bit like, oh, is Oscar better than Lando Norris? And does that matter? Maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
But like, it's good that we've got two guys at McLaren and that McLaren are doing really well. But I think that if you took, because Norris was coming 5th or 6th that day and got the safety car, got in for the thing, and it was kind of got in for the pit stop, and it kind of turned in his direction and got a win out. Great. And I think that was a great story because he'd been on the podium 7,000 times or something, and never could fucking put it together. Rod, really,
it's always a good story.
First win, great. We love it. We stand a win. But I think if you took that away, I think people would be a bit like, oh yeah, maybe Oscar Piastri is the number one driver at McLaren now. He's doing everything. He's great. And maybe Norris should be thinking about that Mercedes seat.
I don't have the exact numbers. I think Lando is on something like $14 million a year, and I think that Piastri is on
40,000
million. Yeah,
1 million.
I think he gets some ice Vovos.
He doesn't bring that big British market with him, right? There is the non-Hamilton fandom, and everyone wants to get behind Lando because they wanted to get behind Russell, but he's not very good. So they get behind Lando because he's.
Have you seen his TikToks? My gosh!
Oh my god!
So,
you know who's really good though? Charles
yeah.
Leclerc. He's really good.
Is he
And
great?
I have watched.
I feel like he just doesn't. He just post normal stuff.
Yeah, but he's heartfelt, and I think that all the stuff around him. Finally winning his home Grand Prix, that great commentary as well. I've watched that clip probably 4 times.
Yeah,
watched the stands that are being built, and now they rise for him. Like, it's good. I probably pre-planned stuff. I mean, you write some lines. Depending on whoever got pole on Saturday, you write some lines for them winning the race the next year. You don't
think Crofty came up with on the spot, son of a hairdresser is a cut above the rest? You don't think he just improvised that?
Yeah, maybe. I like to believe that some people do. But Charles, man, like, he just really, really, really loves being a Formula One driver. And really, his entire being is tied up in it through great tragedy, but also, like, he just seems made in a factory to be a Formula One driver. I don't know what it is, but he is... maybe he feels wronged by Formula One for being like, I did it all, man. I am Formula One. I am the guy for Formula
One. I'm at the right team and everything.
Yeah.
And he's had the ups and downs, and some of the downs have been quite long. But I mean, you could reel off 3 or 4 names, and like Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz, and the Charles Leclerc. Who went the long? Who do you have to go back the furthest till their last race win? Like, probably Leclerc.
Yeah.
So it's like he did his time, but I mean, to win at home at the most prestigious race on the calendar for Ferrari after such a long time of waiting, it's just a perfect scenario for Formula One.
It really is. It really is. It's just a shame that the race was so boring. But yeah.
Anyway,
from a brand
perspective, remember how cool that first lap was? Remember how awesome it was when the 2 Alpine drivers decided to just get a real close look at each other? And Ocon decided that he was playing Rocket League, and he just jumped over his teammate, headed the ball into the tunnel, and then blew back into the harbour.
Man, no one falls in the harbour anymore. So Fred Vassar really didn't want to jump in. Fred was like, "Oh God, I'm
I mean,
old.
so here's the trick. This is a thing that, and you'll love this because this is happening on TikTok now. When you go to Subway and people are making your sandwich, or you order something at a bain-marie, you get your phone out and you record them, and they give you because they know they're being recorded, they give you more
They
food.
give you 3
This is
bits
the
of
Vasseur
bacon.
trick. You film him,
Ah.
and he will
he
do
has to
anything. He will do anything you want him to if you're filming him. He's a secret like attention whore.
Ooh, friendly. He really wants some attention. I could see that. Man, he just didn't. He was like, oh,
But
God.
I mean,
Okay.
he can't remember if he jumped in or pushed. He went in the water. I mean,
Do you reckon these people are taking their phones out of their pockets before they jump in?
if I'm a
Do you
race
have
car
time?
driver, I don't have my phone in my pocket.
No,
So
of course. Yes, but Fred probably does.
I've genuinely had that moment. Not that I've had to do it, but I've been like, like my daughter does like swimming lessons,
Yeah,
and
you're
I've
around
seen
bottles of
parents
water.
have to jump in after their kids,
Oh,
and I've
really?
always thought to myself, if that was me, probably just take that half a second to get the phone out. Like she'll be fine. Like what difference is a half of a second gonna make?
Oh, I'm so
And I've got
glad.
good games on my phone, so you
And all
know,
my saves. I mean, I like the cloud, but
on
isn't
my,
that
on my
are they really
saves.
in the cloud?
Exactly. Retain the saves.
They've got to retain the saves. Also, how waterproof are these phones, really? Though I don't know. I felt funny
I
at
don't
first when I
know.
went in the water with my Apple Watch. I was like, really?
Can't we
You
just
can just
waterproof our
jump
kids
in?
instead?
Well, I think that's what you're trying to do, right? And yet at the
Yeah.
same time, you still need to dive in after them. There's things going wrong. There. I
Exactly.
think I would take the half a second. You know, whenever they're like, now, if this train ride's going bad, don't take your luggage with you. Just get off. And you're like,
That's what I mean.
grabbing my backpack. It's got
Half
my
a
iPad.
second. It's
probably my
half a
passport in
second.
it. Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
anyway,
right.
Esteban Ocon sees Pierre Gasly next to him and he thinks, I can GTA this bitch right over that ramp and get into the water from here. And I mean, it's really got a lot of people asking questions about what's going on with Esteban Ocon.
He's
Why
just
does he
not very
hate
good.
his team and his teammates in particular? And is he even going to be racing next race?
I
It's
think he's a
big.
rogue. I think he's a rogue agent. I think that he's like seemingly so many Formula One races right now. There's just like, you raced in Formula One, then obviously we've got an open seat. Like you'll be the one in the seat because you've been in a Formula One race before. So
You've done the thing.
instead of looking at literally anyone else and being like, okay, you've been racing Formula 3, Formula 2, you've won races, you've been around all of these circuits, we could probably promote you. It's like, no, let's take this guy who's got an incredibly long track record of being a middle of the road racer and sometimes being a bit mean and sometimes being a bit rogue, actually. Let's give him the drive. I would say that both of them being at Alpine has been a bit of a disaster, really. I feel like we've gotten this weird... Renault have just continued along being just a bit shit. And I don't think either of those
they've gone
drivers have
backwards.
helped at all. And yeah, they have gone backwards. And I think they thought with Pierre, maybe, because he had that pretty good run at... what was Toro Rosso, I suppose, was it? Or Alfa Toro back then? I can't remember. What are they now? VB, cardcashapp.com/crypto. He had a pretty good run. Then he went to, and we're like, okay, yeah, go to Renault. That makes sense. You're French, they're French. It's all French
makes
here. And
sense.
then they were like, who's
This all
the other
checks
French
out.
driver? Grosjean is here. No, he's gone.
Great Belgian
about-
beers in France.
Yeah, exactly. What about Ocon? He's the other French guy. Put him in the
Yeah.
car. It's a match made in heaven. And really, I don't think they really like each other. I don't know.
They famously
Ocon's
have
always done
beef
weird
that goes
stuff.
back decades, and they assured
Yeah.
us all they were over it.
They'd squashed
But
it.
Turns out
They
that
turned that into steak tartare.
was a lie.
Yeah.
And so they pulled one over all of us. They absolutely hate each other to the degree. And this is the thing, the weird thing that has me wondering what's going on is Pierre Gasly after the race said, we discussed things before the race and we came to an agreement, and he didn't honor that agreement.
What was the agreement?
What was the agreement? Don't drive into me and crash us both out of
Yeah.
the race. Like what does that mean?
Also, do you not have that agreement all the time?
Yeah.
Why do you need to do? No, these agreements are one race only. Then we craft a new agreement every single time. My lawyers get
Completely
paid 500,000
renegotiate
euros.
everything every race.
Yeah, exactly. Because
the French way.
Conditions change. It's the French way, of course. French law.
It's French law. So what? Like,
So tell me about him not racing next race. Tell me. I haven't heard this rumor. You're on some deep rumor.
I'm being pretty
Rumor
cheeky
shit.
because online, first
Hit
of
me with the
all,
rumors.
there was apparently, and I don't know.
Adrian
the
knew he's
guy's
hopping in the
name.
car. That's what he's doing. He's gonna race around.
one of the Alpine bigwigs, one of the
Oh,
big
and he's
troughs at the
French.
start.
He would have a
Well,
big, really big padded wig.
absolutely. And he was smoking a cigarette out of one of those long
Cigarette.
filters, the long black things, and had really thin pencil mustache as well, and other stereotypical things. And he said to French press, apparently, we're going to have to really take a hard look at this situation, and there will be consequences.
Hmm.
And then there's the vaguest of allusions. Sky Sports are reporting the vaguest of allusions to the fact that Ocon may be benched at the Canadian Grand Prix. And then everyone is repeating that as dumped, Ocon, sidelined.
Absolutely.
I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's a bit of a stretch. I mean, I'm not saying it won't happen, but I don't think it will happen. And I mean, there's been incidents from Ocon's past where I've been on his side, like when Max Verstappen tried to hit him in the face and
Yep.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
Sergio Perez pushed him in, I think it was Singapore, just drove right into him. When I think Sergio Perez pushed him into the wall at Spa one year. There's been times when I've been like, this Esteban Ocon guy, he's
He's
just,
finding himself in fights.
well, God, it takes two to tango, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But what's really come to the surface is this: he's a rat. He's a real rat.
I think that's mean. I don't know. He's at a certain point, you have to just kind of say, what are you bringing here? And this is where Formula One I find frustrating because compared to other sports, you might just kind of be like, well, you know what? It's not working out. I don't think you're great. And there's 100 other drivers we could choose from, 100 other competitors. But there's so much wrapped up into contract and sponsorship and brand and how hard it is to, and like the points that he's accumulated. And like, do you want to bring in a new guy who's like, yeah, I know obviously constructors matters, but like, what about the individual and and his family and like his agent and his team and his engineer and like the car's designed for this guy. So it's hard to just like swap it in for another guy.
Yeah.
All of these things combined just make it so drivey. I was going to say sticky for a driver, but tricky for a striver. Which is why I think you see like Kevin Magnussen stays in Formula One forever, even though he's good. He's pretty rogue. We've seen this down the line for ages of drivers who are like on their day are great drivers, but the rest of the time just make such weird decisions. And there is absolutely no reason for you to make a pass on your teammate at Monaco in a really bad
At that corner.
spot. Exactly.
That's what makes me wonder whether the discussion was whoever leads into the tunnel was something like that, like something really specific.
Yeah.
Like whoever's leading going into the tunnel gets preference. But
Yeah.
there's just, of all the places to throw it up the inside, why at that corner? It doesn't make any sense. But you'd have to wonder whether there's something going on behind the scenes in terms of, I've heard whispers both drivers want to get the fuck out of there.
Yep.
Maybe there's like, maybe Alpine want to get rid of them, and they're like, we're at most keeping one of you. You have to think that would be Pierre Gasly at this stage if he wants to stay.
Yeah, the driver market stuff's interesting, right? I saw that Carlos Sainz could be after Williams. Just he's got a gap year. He's got to fill somewhere, right? He's got to go somewhere.
We'll talk about Red Bull next, but man, Sainz going from Ferrari winning races to Williams now
being
just
fine. Yeah, wow. Look, this is the Formula One we've inherited, Rod, where there's a few good teams, but they've only got a few seats. So, maybe Williams will have some upgrades in a few weeks. That's somewhere good. I don't know. You never know. But yeah, Alpine very quickly just racing into insignificance, and I just don't think they've called everything wrongly. I don't think they got their driver lineup right. I think their name is bad, even though they're a race. But it's a bespoke car company. That's not Renault. Just be Renault if you want to do that. Why do you have to be Alpine? What a weird way to get a bunch of sponsorship money in. I just don't think people care. And then in this year of our Lord 2024, when brand is so important to Formula One, like more important than it has ever been, that people can get behind Visa, Cash App, RB. They can. Like people get behind that brand because they're like, well, people like Yuki and people like Ricardo. Like at least people might not know how to say the name of the car. They'll just call it Little Red Bull, and they like these two guys.
They're peacocking is what it is.
They're peacocking. They're paramounting. They're doing all of these things. Yeah, it's
all those things.
there's something around that, and I think that Alpine have just gotten it just incredibly wrong.
They're wrong in every. They've made the wrong call in every way.
Yeah,
Who to sign for drivers, how to brand the car, what to invest, who the personnel. There's just nothing you can point to that's like that's a good Formula One team. That's how you run it. That's a well run team right there.
Yeah,
Sad times, concerning.
I'm not concerned for them. I reckon maybe Andretti will buy the team.
Maybe. Oh, big news. We'll finish on that story later about who might buy a team. But can we talk about Red Bull for a little bit?
What about them? They've been
Fuck's
slow
going
this
on at
whole
Red Bull?
time. Well, tell you what, Max Verstappen, if you want to know exactly what's happening at Red Bull, you just have to ask Max a direct question. He gives direct answers. They're like, what's going on? He's like, we've been found
true.
out. The car's been crap all year.
Yeah.
It's basically undrivable. I've been like strangling it around, like just
Barely
like,
winning every race.
bare knuckled, like fucking trying to get it around every single track. This is how Formula One drivers drive, by the way. This is how Max Verstappen
Just
drives.
like that.
Just the biggest
Like
arm
Smokey and the
separation.
Bandit.
Yeah. Like climbing up two ropes.
Like that's the Auslan sign for driving. Yeah, like that's how Formula One drivers drive, like that. Red Bull, they're slow. What I mean, so obviously lost a couple of races now. In the last 3 races, they've lost 2 of them. That's not good. Ferrari 24 points behind Red Bull in the constructors. Leclerc only 31 points behind Max. And the problem, I think, for the drivers and for the constructors really is the resurgence of McLaren means that McLaren and Ferrari are going to take points off each other.
Yeah.
But if that wasn't happening, Red Bull might be in some trouble there.
Yeah.
Perez, 5th, falls to 5th. I know he got knocked out, but he has no business being in 5th. And I'll tell you, Max has lost 3 races this year. Perez was not on the podium for any of those.
No, he's not scooping
And it's
up
about to be
bonus
announced before the next race that Perez is going to get his contract renewed.
Yeah, he's no Bottas, is he?
That team sucks.
Yeah, well, but they'll still win the championship by 100 points.
Yep. And they'll be stupid and they'll suck doing it.
Yeah, but
What's going on?
I think that the gains they have had from last season's car, like the designs they had through the formula, all the other teams have caught up on all of the basics.
Yeah, they have.
Of all the
That's
elements,
true.
all the fundamentals are all there. And so now we're getting towards the end of the formula where it's the small tweaks are the things that make a difference. So it's starting to even out. And who knows how much Adrian Newey's actually been working out those small tweaks for Red Bull at all. And the other teams have just
maybe he's sabotaging them.
He's like, hey, yeah, how about I've got this new lead wing that I think you should put right on top of the driver's head, actually. And they're like,
right on top of the driver's head.
Mate,
yeah, make their helmets out of it.
Yeah. It's going to be great. Really heavy stickers I've decided to put on the car that stand up. They're 3D.
So, I mean, there was the race in Australia that Max lost to and Sainz won because he had a brake problem and he retired. Then there was the race in Miami, which Lando won. And I mean, it drove me crazy too because after that race, they were like, Lando won on pure pace. I was like, yeah, but there was also that safety car and Max had damage from running over that thing. So it wasn't really on pace. Monaco, I mean, and you know, there's all these caveats. It's Monaco. Monaco doesn't suit the Red Bull package, sure, but they got shown up here.
Absolutely. And this is the thing. This is why you have Max Verstappen, is that even when the Red Bull package is not the best, he still, whips out a crazy, brilliant, like when they're not on pace, they're still like Max still makes them half a second faster.
There. Yes,
but
exactly.
and so they're not like just backed into the crowd. But yeah, these last couple of races, they just haven't had that extra bit of drive where they're just like, two drivers come out of the same corner and the Red Bull just fires off into the distance. The McLaren is still as pacey, or like has caught up on the pure pace, I think, and then is catching up everywhere else. Yeah. And I think they've just got to really. It's funny, you hear engineers and F1 journalists who have been in the game a long time talk about this, and it's haunted Mercedes these last few seasons, which is just that's like the car, like not like the wings or the little upgrades or the little bits and pieces, the fundamentals of the car, like how good is this chassis, how good is the whole design, because they don't really redesign cars wholly throughout the season. Like Mercedes tried that, it didn't work, and they're still feeling the effects of it. And so I think that the McLaren car was pretty good last year, and this year they've tweaked it even more and then found the other improvements and they're making it work even without probably the best power unit in Formula One right now either. But they are just a really well-run machine with 2 really good drivers who are giving great feedback with a great engineering team. And I think while the other teams are kind of going through a moment of change, So Mercedes is going through a moment of change. Red Bull's losing its teams, starting to break up a little bit, have been distracted. Ferrari are kind of reworking out what they want to do under Vasseur, and they're getting some of those gains from that. McLaren are the same. McLaren have been probably the most stable team over the last.
Yeah, they have.
Like as soon as Lando came in, yes, that other seat has been changing. They got their engineer, they got their PU sorted out. They got long-term contracts. And Zach Brown has been in charge and is firmly in charge of that team. It's been super stable from at least what we can see, and they seem to be having fun doing it as well. I don't know. They have like they seem serious without being like, we've got this long history of Formula One and we have to. They never seem really upset at themselves. They seem like they are constantly trying to improve, and they have been super stable.
I think they've just got the belief. And when Ferrari are not winning, you just feel they don't have the belief that they can win. But I feel like McLaren are like, we can fucking do this. Like, it's coming. Like, it feels like it's just they can see the light at the end of the tunnel or something. But they've put in the hard years, and they've made all the right moves, which is like we were saying with Alpine, they haven't made any of the right moves.
No bad moves.
Good moves central. Moves like Jagger over here.
And Red Bull, concerning moves. Like, no matter how much you want to kind of paper over and be like, you know what, we all had a chat and that investigation's gone away, and Horner's totally happy, and Adrian just had enough. He doesn't want, his hands are tired from drawing all those cars. Just
sick, and he just wants to go and do exactly the same thing, but just in a different office.
Yeah, and Max isn't so bored that he's also racing in an online or like 24-hour race at the same time. Like,
he won that as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course he did, because he's really good.
I can't remember.
Like, he just, I think
but what?
Max is also just a bit bored generally, I think. I don't think he likes winning all these races by a lot either. And so,
Oh, well, I mean, they ask him, and they're like, what's your, like, would you rather win by like 1 second or 30? He's like, I'd rather win by as much as possible. Like, that's what I'm here to do. Even if it means a boring race for me.
He doesn't like the car.
If I can win if I can lap everyone 5 times, I will. Question though, like I say, Perez is about to be re-signed. They're going to do the stupid thing and not get Carlos Sainz. They're going to do the dumb thing and get Perez. Perez may cost them the Constructors' Championship this year. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, we always said I think I said it earlier, but I'm going to repeat it. At least when Bottas was, we knew it was off for Bottas when this started happening to Bottas, right? When he started, like, Lewis wouldn't win and Bottas would be down in 6th, and you're like, you're not helping him. Like, you're not applying any pressure. You're not having the guy who's following the number one driver going, like, looking over their shoulder, being like, oh, should we pit now? But then the other guy might come and get us. Perez is just poodling around.
But it's that foot on the throat thing that Mercedes had and now Red Bull have had for a little while. Is if we don't get you with Max, we're going to get you with the other guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Perez is just not there.
No, I don't understand why they really. I think he must just bring a huge amount of money in. He's very stable, but you could just go and get. Why didn't you just go and get Hulkenberg or something like that and just stick him in the car? Like, it wouldn't be a problem. He'd be great.
It's got to be like Joss the boss and the other, like they probably want to get someone better, and I'm sure that they veto anyone more threatening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that could be it. Maybe they're just like, we don't have to repaint all the stuff and keep them.
Didn't you say we've got all the seats? We've got his name and everything.
His name's written on everything already. We know his sizes. He's doesn't demand too much. They probably don't pay him much. Genuinely, they probably don't. He probably. I always wonder. Like, he probably does. Like, he brings all that. He brings a lot to the table, cash wise, and it's fine.
It does.
So
do you have anything else? There's one other big story that I want to cover. So I don't know if you have anything else rattling around in the old brain. It's been 4 races.
Let me refer to my personal notes.
Okay. Lando Norris win. Any other? What was the mood like in oldie London town on that day?
I mean, it's good. I think it was difficult because like the other sports were finishing, like football was kind of finishing up for the season, and there's a lot of stuff. Right. And then we now move into the little period where other sports can get a look in, and
that's a shame.
I think there was a lot of happiness, a lot of celebration, and people were very happy for Lando. I still find him a bit, I don't know, a little something rings in my ear.
I mean, I remember loving him, then I remember thinking he was dumb, and now I'm just sort of in between that. I mean, he seems like he went away for a while and tried to turn himself into like just a real serious racer, and I mean
he would look at my cards
doing
if I
well
left
now,
the
so
table.
that's good.
This is the thing. He would eat one of the sausages off my plate as I went to the toilet. I would come back, I'd be like, I thought I had 3
Oh yeah,
sausages.
I come back and he's stolen my car.
Yeah, exactly. I think he would unabashed it. Like, he's like, I'm cool and young and like, don't worry about me. Like, I'm fun. But then if you then, like, anytime he's been asked, like, hey, if you had to, push the other guy out of his boat so that you could
exactly. Here's the analogy.
Starting line first, he'd be like,
you go out with Lando and some mutual friends to a nightclub, and then you go to the bathroom, you come back, and they've all gone to another nightclub. That's Lando Norris.
Wow, that's mean. I think
that he did it.
Yeah.
Like, don't shoot the messenger. I'm the victim here.
Yeah, you are. Oh, Lando. Yeah, mate. Anyway. I don't know what it is. I just can't. I just wouldn't. Yeah, I feel like if you won a competition to hang out with Lando Norris, he would be like, yeah, I suppose we could play FIFA or something. And then at the end, he would just be like, he would literally, just as he's walking out of the room, make sure you heard it, but he's not talking to you. Be like, that was a fucking waste of time. And you'd be like,
now for something good. Now for some fun with some real winners.
Yeah, you'd burn that room down that we would. I don't want those controllers back. You get me fresh controllers. That other guy touched them. Yeah, no good. No, really? Let's move on. You must have another point. You must have something else burning in your F1 heart that you want to discuss.
This. It's one of my favorite off-track stories from the year.
Off-track's a good name for a podcast. If we wanted to rename.
There's already that a million. This is the other thing I'm noticing is every Formula One name is taken now.
It's all taken.
Every handle and everything's a podcast as well, which is fine. But
it's so not fine. Everything's a podcast now, which is fine. Sure it is.
I mean, we were doing podcasting when there was 7 of them, but now there's 7 million. But that's fine. Doesn't even matter. It's okay.
Yep.
Can't even find us in the podcast app. You type the name directly in, it doesn't come up. It's fine. It doesn't matter. It's all good. The best take I heard about this story, this is Gunther Steiner and Haas suing each other. And the best take I heard about this was, this is like the Kendrick and Drake of the Formula One world right now. This is it's just mutually assured destruction. Gunther Steiner launching legal action against his former employer, saying, you owe me a whole bunch of money for unpaid money stuff. Make good, Mr. Moneybags. And then Haas are like, nah, I don't think so. You sue me. You don't sue me. I sue you.
I sue you.
So Haas are countersuing Gunther Steiner to say, we don't owe you money, buddy. You owe us money. So, I mean, I remember when it was announced that Steiner was leaving, I was like, remember that weird thing that he said where he was like, oh, if I do this, I own half the team. And then they're like, what? And he was like, oh, nothing, never mind.
No, don't worry about it. Don't look at the contract.
What?
Did he say what? What?
Some of the legal documents that have come out have been apparently heavily redacted. So the details are scant, but it has something along the lines of unpaid commissions. And some people are saying, well, he helped secure $20 million in sponsorship. And apparently there was maybe it was like handwritten in Sharpie or something. Oh, and $5 million
also
for Gunther.
5% for
and
Gunther.
Also, yeah, exactly, $20 million, and in the sense he wrote, and $2 million.
His name is Gunther Steiner.
To G-Dog Steiner. So he's saying, hey, you never paid me that. And they're like, oh, yeah, we didn't pay you that. Well, I'm just looking at this copy of your book here, Surviving to Drive, and I notice there's a Haas car on the cover that you didn't license from us. So how about that? How about them apples?
Yeah, I hope he was like, I took that photo on my phone. It was me. It's my photo. It's actually my car.
It's from my iPhoto. I mean, this
must just be that he's asked for loads of money, and they're like, "Fucking," and Haas's lawyers have gone, "Hey, we're not going to give you all that money."
No,
yeah. How about we go with no, and you go with I want all of it, and we're going to end up meeting in the middle. And here's like, cool, you can have $5 million, sort yourself out, leave us alone. Take those mean things you said about us out of that book. Put your own face on it,
but he was still working there when he was promoting it. I assume there's nothing too bad. But maybe there is. I don't know.
He seems like the kind of guy who doesn't. I don't think Gunther Steiner is tactful. It's lucky that he's playful, but he's not full of tact. I think he's just very straightforward.
So okay. So let's like, we've been flogging this dead horse. You're at the poker table at your house. Gunther's on the other side of the table. You put your cards down and go to the bathroom. You come back. What's happened?
What has Gunther done? You know what? Okay, you asked me a question, and you can answer it. I'm going to tell you after you tell me.
I think he's changed the music, and now Kenny Loggins is playing.
Okay. Okay. Right. I think what he's done is that he has claimed he's won the hand because you took too long. And he'll be like,
You
in
timed
Australia,
out.
like a fast game. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
where the fuck were you?
Oh, you
And you know
fuck
what? You
snooze,
can
you
win
fuck
the next.
lose.
Yeah, you can win the next hand. You can win it all back. It's like it's just luck.
Yeah.
But you lost this one. You took too long. And you know what? I timed it out, and then I looked at your cards. You weren't going to win the hand anyway. So don't worry
Yeah, I
about
dealt the
it.
next hand and you lost
Yeah.
that one as well. Sucks to be you. You're on a
Actually,
run,
you're
you're
out.
on a cold run.
Smile for the camera. I'm putting it in front of my next book.
I also posted from your Instagram a glowing endorsement and rated my book 5 stars on Goodreads.
I did you a favor. I did you a favor.
Now you don't be
Put
to
my
pay me
affiliate
back.
link in the bottom.
It's only the polite thing to do would be to return the favor now to me.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
What a
If
guy.
anything, it just needed to, someone needed to show you that you're not very good at poker. So, and that person's me. So we do it in the mountains.
So look, poor old Gunther Steiner, first of all, loses his job. Second of all, doesn't get paid this amazing commission that he thinks he's entitled to. But will he have his day in the sun in the end? Because there's rumors that he has a lot of financial backing and he is out for blood and he is planning to take over a Formula One team.
Which one, Rod? This is the big question.
The name that I've heard bandied around was the former peacocking team, V-Carb.
V-Carb.
Imagine Gunther Steiner at the helm.
I suppose they lost. Yeah. Yeah, V-Carb. I could see that. I just thought he would get involved in the Andretti Formula One debacle.
That's what makes sense. But
then-
Andretti, I mean, you know, the thing is, Andretti are going to have to buy, it seems, they're going to have to buy
Buy
another
Haas.
team if they want to get in. So who do they buy?
Haas has got to
Wouldn't
get
that be
out.
nice?
That'd be, it would be glorious. The Andretti, like, fine. We'll just buy the other American team. Here we go. And look Gunther's like, don't worry about it, guys. I don't need the tour.
Look
Fucking
what the
built this
cat fox
place.
smashed in.
It's back, baby. Yeah, I don't know.
It's
I
like
was going to
Simpsons
ask.
meme. You know that Simpsons meme where Mo throws Barney out the door
Yeah.
and then he dusts his
He's
hand in
right,
Marty's
right.
blood? It's like that, but all of the pains, all of the people are tagged with Gunther Steiner.
Everyone's going to.
Throws himself out and then bang, he
that's-
surprises himself. I'm back.
Hey, well, I was literally going to ask you, would anyone take a gamble and go to Steiner? But I mean, he just has the energy of old F1 or like
He had one
back
trick.
marker energy team. Like that's
Yeah.
they should call them that. Like just back marker energy. He's
So it'd
got
be-
real back marker energy.
It'd be him,
Mm-hmm.
Esteban Ocon, Nikita Mazepin,
Oh,
sponsored by Rich Energy.
yes. Yeah, featuring Andretti because it's the only way
be
they
like-
could get involved.
Guest starring, introducing Andretti Racing.
Do you think that Formula One, Liberty Media, and Drive to Survive have enough pull? Like, have enough editorial oversight?
Well, like, political
they would-
influence over the sport.
Over the sport. Yeah, of course. They'll be like, look, he's one of the main characters of our show,
Yeah.
which is actually the sport, the show.
Love
the
that.
show.
That's
here.
right. It is an
The racing
entertainment
is
product.
the racing exists to make Drive to Survive, not the other way around. That is not a
Yeah.
documentary. This is the writer's room, the racing,
Yeah.
and then that is what gets turned into.
We've
Formula
decided this is great for Gunter's arc.
One. Exactly. Stick him in there.
Basically wrestling at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, or could we find a job for him that's different? That's like a role in the FIA or something, and then he could like really wreak havoc on Haas every single time. Like, Kevin, oh dear me, you are again turning up, having just crashed into someone. Another crash featuring Kmag. Oh, what's funnier? 1 point off.
What's funny?
So you would
What's
go
right for his
one.
character?
So the guillotine hangs over you for one more race, or do I give you so many points off your license that you'll never drive again? Hard. Well, I look forward to getting some new drivers in at the next race. What's the next race? Are we at Villeneuve? Are we
Canada.
in
Yeah,
Canada?
we're at Villeneuve.
The fake European race. I
Pancakes
never
Grand
understand
Prix.
this. We come to Europe, then we fly off to Miami, we come back to Europe again, then we fly over Canada, then we come back. Can we just have a real European season where I
Yeah.
can watch the races at a good time the whole time?
Yeah,
No?
that's the real thing.
That's all I care about.
Is it on the? Have they done the right thing this year? And is it on the King's birthday weekend? I don't think it is.
Oh yeah, the king. Look at you being up to date on your.
Yeah, look at me.
monarchs.
Work.
That's my God knowing who the current monarch is.
Yeah, Classic.
The gender of the current monarch.
Oh, I can't see the date for it.
It'll be in my
It was always the best thing because it was always like,
pancakes
it's
in the
on
morning,
really late
baby.
here, but you just get up and go back to bed for a while on
Yeah,
the
it's
Monday
not
because they give you a little public holiday.
on this weekend. It's the
9th of
following
June.
weekend, the 9th of June. Canadian
I
Grand
think
Prix.
that is the King's weekend, isn't it?
I don't live with you in that country anymore. We don't celebrate the birthday on the same date.
What?
We also don't get a public holiday for the King's birthday.
This is outrageous.
It is. It's right. It's outrageous.
Someone should do
Scooby-Doo would
something
say.
about it.
Outrageous.
Let's rejoin. I was going to say let's rejoin the Commonwealth. We're still in there, I'm pretty
You're
sure.
still in the Commonwealth. Also not a republic. You've lost
again.
the 2 leaders of that. So maybe you could run to be a Republican show now, maybe. Not in that way. Don't clip it up.
My phone is absolutely no good. I'm just going to Google when the King's birthday weekend.
Just ask the
let's
AI assistant.
ask ChatGPT. Let's do that.
And it'll
Such
make
great
something.
stuff. We have to think of a better close than this.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
okay.
this is, I mean, we have an idea if you got nothing, but
No, just tell me, who do you think's actually going? Do you think there's loads of rumors about people racing at the next Grand Prix in Canada? Do you think any of them are actually happening? Do you genuinely believe that anybody's going to be benched? No. Put it away, everybody. But we might get a Doohan or a Balotelli or what was the English guy that everyone liked that came in at Ferrari? Was he English? Who
Behrman?
was the guy? What?
Is it Behrman? You talking?
Yeah, Behrman. Is he English?
I thought so.
I
Maybe
thought
he's
so
not.
too. So who are the guys? We got Antonelli, we got Behrman, and we've got Doohan. These are the guys who are making moves in Formula One, and we're expecting them all in. We're all expecting them all in Canada. All of them are going to be there.
Noticed old mate Liam Lawson floating around the garages as well this weekend.
Liam Lawson. Wow, we've got this great crop of guys who are
We
all
do.
ready to go.
Like the B
Get them in
team.
there. We're probably going to get some calls soon to start handing out some super licenses. People don't know that
Yeah.
about this. That's actually why it's called super license.
So you heard it here first. 10th of June in Australia. The Monday is the King's birthday weekend.
Great.
And I'm pretty
Perfect.
sure, if I do my maths right,
That's the
9th
Grand
of
Prix
June
weekend.
corresponds to the 10th of June in my part of the world. That's how we do maths Australian style. 9 equals
Perfect.
10. So we did it.
We love it.
One more fun thing you want to end on?
No, you've got something though. You said
Have you been keeping up with our YouTube account?
not like
Nope.
minute to minute.
Right on. Oh, I think I sent you one thing.
Mhm.
There's this fun thing happening that I'm doing.
Okay.
When there's a particularly interesting radio message from the drivers to the team and vice versa, there's all these tools these days that make being a creative individual like easy and like makes people who are doing the hard work of really
Less
making like
worthwhile.
real music just
Yeah.
look like idiots.
Comes.
I've been trying to do this thing where if I do a YouTube video, I get to the end and I try and put a little AI song at the end that's about the content of the video. So it's just a fun
Okay.
little tag on the end. But then throughout the weekends, I just pick some
Radio message.
radio message and turn it into
Formula
a
One
little
and
AI
FEMA.
song. Yes, and we haven't really talked about them on the podcast, but I don't know if you want to hear any.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'll be able to hear them if you play them.
Yeah, I'll make sure you can hear them. Don't worry,
Okay.
it's going to be fine. So,
You're
also,
gonna play us out on that instead of the outro.
I should do that. Well, I mean, I can.
Ooh,
But if
that'd be a big break from habit.
Let me work
Because
out
if
how to
it-
do this
Oh
one.
yeah, I think people would stop listening.
People on the podcast will hear this. People watching, I'll share the screen so they can hear it as well. Then we should be fine. This is the one from this weekend. So it's a screenshot of the radio, and it's Norris Radio. It says, "Idiots, these blokes, all of them, not all of them, just some of them." And here's what AI decided to turn this into a song.
These blokes.
How can you think idiots these blokes?
All of them. Not all of them, just some of them.
I love that he got 2 bites at the cherry. Went, oh
Yeah. It just
gotta
goes
get-
and goes. F1
goes
is
and
going to, I mean, AI F1 stuff is just going to,
Could you ask it to do it in the voice of Will Buxton next time? So that
I can probably do that.
really prompted your way through here.
So there's 2 more that I really liked, and these are sort of dancey, upbeat numbers. So maybe I mean, these are the best examples I think so far of what I've been able to do. But I really like. How do I? I can play them, but I can't restart them. Is the problem? But what I've noticed is that if I take radio messages where there's a little bit of like repetitive words or a
It's easier
cadence,
to
a
build a
musical
chorus around
cadence
something
to
there,
it.
Rod. You got to have a hook. And so if there's
Gotta have a
something,
hook.
you
Gotta
got to know what the
start
whole
with-
point of this thing is.
Start with that hook. So here's another one. This one, well, I mean, again, do the same. I'll read the thing. Seeing that one?
Yep.
Ricardo Radio. P4, what a day. Kiki, oi, oi, oi. Oi, mate, I'm boiling. Absolutely boiling. Oi, mate. I'm so pleased for you. I'm so pleased for us here as well. Very good.
It's so
day.
hot.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, this one bangs. This song goes hard.
Oi, 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 mate, I'm boiling, absolutely boiling. Oh, mate, I'm so pleased for you. I'm so pleased for us here as well. Very good day, yeah, well, awesome.
So
That's
the
got
problem.
real bag raiders like Uffy energy. Like it's got real modular records like 2005, 2006. Like that's playing in the indie club.
Yeah. I mean, that's very Ricardo thing. I feel like if that came on, he would be car dancing and all the rest of it. The problem for me is I live with these songs, and to me, they are real songs that are like earworms, and they're like in the popular culture. No one knows them except for me.
No. It's just you. Send them to Fred again. Maybe he'll put them on his TikTok. Maybe he'll
Yeah,
remix
but
them.
like I'm walking to the train in the morning going, oi, oi, I'm boiling. Absolutely boiling. And it's like, Rod, that's not even a thing, mate.
See, 20 years ago, you might have turned that into your ringtone. And then people
Well,
would be
well-
like, that's a banger. Can I buy that on the Virgin Media ringtone app?
I'll pay
website?
$4 for that for a Crazy Frog remix of boiling.
Send it. I think that's next year's Eurovision winner.
Oh, well, that's a good idea. I mean, these are all AI generated. I'm not hiding the fact
No.
for a second that those are AI generated. I'm not going to sell them. You're
You're not going to sell them.
I'm not going to.
Someone else
AI
might.
music is such a hot thing. Like everyone who's a musician, like will just like cross the road and walk on the other side of the road rather than share the sidewalk with someone who makes AI music. But I mean,
You used to say that
I
about
understand-
podcasters, Rod. We weren't the radio people, but now look who's king.
It's true. Yes, that's right. Gunther Steiner style coming back.
Gunter Morgan
It's-
to you, saw.
I understand that it's a very controversial hot button issue, AI music. I get it. But I'm trying to say, like, I'm just having some fun. And
Just having some fun.
I'm not
just
trying to sell
dipping
this
your
music.
toes
I'm
in the
not trying to
water.
devalue music. I just want to hear a banging house tune based on a Formula One radio message.
just
That's
want-
all.
You just want music that's personalized directly to your interests and yours alone.
Well, not exclusively, but I do actually want to hear
No.
that.
Yeah, hey, that's the thing, right? Like that's what AI is helping us bridge the gap. It's like I want that to be a thing. I can't make that thing, but I'd love for that to be a
But
thing.
I can hit several buttons.
Can I write a prompt, man?
Yes,
Jesus.
exactly. Can I? So much like the podcast intro graphics, which I like to believe people are enjoying, but who knows? We're having some fun with AI in this world.
Finally, someone's found a use for it. Yeah, it was an answer looking for a problem, and I found the problem.
Not all heroes wear capes, but here we are. I was going to play more, but I mean, I think we've gone long, so maybe we end on that high note.
Much like the producer who put together the 8 minutes highlights for the Monaco Grand Prix, we have managed to find more than hours of content
So true.
from some lackluster racing, but some very good and fine racing, actually. If you know where to find it,
Hmm.
not around the streets of Monaco.
Hard agree.
Okay, well then,
We'll be back in several races times. We're
Yes,
still aiming
in
for that
June.
monthly, that monthly cadence.
we'll be back in June. June's a little bit of a busy month, but we're going to be back. Who have we got in June? We
Who
have
have
Canadian Grand Prix, yes. We have nothing the following week, and then we have Spanish Grand Prix, Rod, the big one,
And then
Spain. and then and then also the Austrian Grand Prix. So we get
Oh,
three
okay.
races in June, squeezed in to those last kind of 3 or 4 weekends.
So-
So I reckon we're going to be able to get in there and talk about a couple of them, and by then
back
we'll
somewhere
know
around there.
what has finally happened to Esteban Ocon.
Yeah.
We'll finally know if Kmag has found himself with a race penalty and someone's had to slip into that seat. Maybe Nico Rosberg's had to come in and race in that seat for a little while. That'd be sweet.
Maybe he has. Oh, we had different commentators recently as well. I was going to ask you about that. Maybe we'll save that for another time.
Yeah,
See if we get any
Crofty's
other
taking a break.
commentators.
Yes, finally some new commentators. Finally, we'll get a chance.
Definitely. Well, anyway, there's all that to look forward to. I'll probably do another live at some point as well, and just do sort of a bit of a live stream mess around between now and the next podcast, just to catch whatever other weird stories there are floating around. So stay tuned for that. Obviously, you just follow us on Threads. Go to the website, which is superlicense.fm, and this week the FM stands for
Funky Machinations is what I would call your AI generated music. So yeah,
love the funky ones. I'll work that into the next prompt for a song.
Cool.
So yeah, and you can jump in the Discord if you want to have chats. We're doing predictions. I missed out on predictions this week. Pole win 10th by 1. Had Alonso for 10th. He came 11th. Other than that, I would have got it.
There was a time when he was always in for pole and win, but now he's in for 10th. Take that, Fernando.
How the things have done things that are different.
That's it.
Brains are shutting down. Maybe it's time to wrap this baby up. So yeah, we'll be back in about a month's time to do some more of this stuff. In the meantime, look out for some other fun stuff. And until that point, my name's Ben Rod.
My name's been Zach.
And I'll pull up a graphic so you're not looking at our weird faces.
What do you mean?
Until things fade out. Oh yeah. We can still talk though. Don't feel like you don't have to stop talking. We can.
Definitely a weird face.
It's just not our weird faces. I mean, there's our other weird faces.
Ooh.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't count.